Pix 11 is your local election headquarters. This morning, we begin round 2 with our New York City mayoral candidates. Former Sanitation Commissioner and food czar Kathryn Garcia just announcing that she has qualified for more than $2 million in public matching funds for her campaign for mayor. She joins us now live once again. Good morning, Kathryn. Good to see you. Congratulations on the funding.
Thank you. It was a great day yesterday.
Absolutely. Okay, so I've got a lot of topics to go over with you. Let me start with this. We want to talk about the state of the country right now with multiple police-involved deaths of black and brown men and boys. In fact, the latest just 13 years old. What is your reaction to this?
This is horrifying. I don't understand how this can continue to happen. We know that we need to end this violence against young, particularly young black men. My brother is black. He needs to be safe. He needs to be safe when we're with PD. I know that when I'm mayor, that we can get the reform to protect all New Yorkers.
What kind of reforms do you want to see within NYPD to ensure that these things don't happen here?
Look, we need clear and transparent discipline. We need to make sure that we root out the cops who are not prepared to treat all New Yorkers with respect. We need to do a lot of culture change and measure the impacts of community engagement so we can rebuild trust. But I've also said that cops should be older when they start. They should be 25, and that they should live within the city so we are all one community.
You know, these shootings often lead to large protests on New York City streets. In fact, I spoke with the commissioner earlier this week, and he said the city is preparing for the possibility. The city facing several lawsuits from the George Floyd protest over the summer, which I'm sure you are very aware of. Where do you stand on how police should handle these protests and the possibility of more to come?
We've got to make sure that we're respectful of all protests in the city of New York. I was out there during the summer. These were peaceful protests for the most part. But I'll say one thing, kettling does not work. It just rises the tension. And we need to make sure that people are getting an opportunity to really speak out against what are really horrifying crimes.
Well, you know, we're also seeing a surge in mass shootings, including just one overnight in Indianapolis, where a gunman killed at least 8 people. Multiple folks have been injured there. Where do you stand on gun control?
Look, we know that a lot of the guns that get used in New York City come from other places that don't have our strict laws and gun control, which I think are just common sense. There are just too many guns and too many guns that are able to fire multiple rounds and cause carnage.
Yeah, well, one campaign agenda for you, though, also involves this. I got to shift gears to the health policy proposal because this is Black Maternal Health Week, and part of your proposal is to tackle the disparities when it comes to pregnancy complications and women of color. Talk to us about that.
It is really insane that it is more likely that to die if you are Black, 8 times more likely to die of maternal morbidity. And that is insane. And we know what works. We know that giving women the opportunity to have a midwife, usually who looks like them, has better outcomes. And to also have a doula to support and advocate for you during labor. It's very hard to advocate for yourself during labor. And these are the types of things that we need to be looking at. But it's beyond just what's going to happen in delivery. It's about making sure that people are healthy before they even get pregnant, that they have access to good housing and good food, so that they are healthy before that even happens.
Well, I want to dive into that a little bit more because it also, this plan of yours includes Medicaid, food stamps, and reduced wait times for doctor's appointments. I want you to elaborate a little bit on that.
No, we need to make sure when someone comes in and needs assistance that we are getting all of the assistance. So that means we need to ensure that they are getting the full food stamp that they are eligible for, that they are getting access to housing that they are eligible for. And quite frankly, we are about to see a lot of money from the federal government. The child tax credit is more than $3,000 a year for families. Incredibly important to support them and make sure that they have access to the nutrition that they need going forward. So this is part of my plan, is think of your entire life, but it's also access to health care. You can have great insurance. We need to ensure that everyone is on Medicaid who is eligible to be on Medicaid and doing that outreach. But if you can't get a doctor's appointment, you can't take care of what could be your underlying conditions or keep yourself healthy.
Quickly, I want to talk to you about a variety of new proposals for reforming New York City's foster care system, really based on your own experience here, right, as an adoptee?
That is correct. Yes, I feel really passionate about this topic, and it's been broken for far too long and has the worst outcomes. It is terrible for kids. But the one fundamental piece is we need to make it so that we are supporting families, which is in the same way that we are supporting people's health, that we are not equating poverty with neglect, that families have enough money to be able to take care of their children, and the social safety net is supporting them. That's the first piece. We want to keep families together. But if that is not the option, we need to ensure that we are not discriminating against families based on the color of their skin. And there is strong data that shows that if you are Black or brown, you are more likely to be removed from your family than if you are white. And if we followed the state recommendation of race blind removals, we would see that change. But if we end up having to remove a child, if the government ends up having to remove a child, we can't give up on that kid. We can't make the plan be that they will become independent, that they will age out. We have to continue to look for adopted families because you need your family for your entire life.
Yep, you sure do.
We-
Quickly, I'm out of time here. I want to ask you about reopening of New York City. There are a lot of plans in the works. What are your plans quickly on that topic?
Absolutely. We need to open up this economy. That means supporting our small businesses that are 50% of our private sector employment with microloans, access to the public realm, and just getting the hell out of their way from the bureaucratic point of view, which is why we need a one city permit. We need to thrive again. We need to get back to our offices. We need to get back into the groove of going to restaurants and going to shows and going to museums.
A little bit of normalcy back to the city. Kathryn Garcia, thanks for spending some time with us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I
Good
really
to see
appreciate
you.
it.
Take care.